they did do that. So actually, no, yeah, I still think Sengoku have the better level 1, but it's marginal, and also DFM execution is just kind of easier.
Yeah, and
it's Ebby's Nar.
It is Ebby's Nar. And this is sort of been the thing with DFM throughout the entire split, right? Is that we've had a lot of teams in the LJL that have had 1 or 2 standout players. I think Sengoku, one of those teams, right? Jet and Honey, we can't talk about these guys enough, but where DFM really flip the script a little bit on the LJL is having carries in all of the lanes. And I think that is so important. It means that even if Sengoku are able to shut down Yaharong in the mid lane and maybe even get that advantage and put it towards the top side to put Ebby in a hole, Beautipon's still going to be doing a load of damage. If the script is flipped again, Ebby, Yaharong, both of these guys can also pick up the slack. That's one of the real...
I'm just worried, mate, because something that we saw in the pick and ban phase is Honey opted to go for the Xayah over the Jinx, and we saw Jinx be such a polarizing pick for Sengoku in that previous series. But I'm excited, they're going on the Rift, mate!
We are jumping onto the Rift for Game 1 of the LGL Spring 2022 Finals. DFM on the blue side. Heavy favourites looking to take another title, another trip to an international event. Sengoku desperately hoping for a victory here today.
They absolutely are. There's a lot riding on the line. I mean, obviously, Sengoku Gaming want to redeem themselves. The org it's been a while since they've been in the finals. They finally rallied all the way. This is kind of a pseudo mix of a super team. Also kind of the tried and tested, consistent players of the LJL. NT, the player who had never dropped out of a top 3 spot until last split. Like, that's how incredibly, consistent a lot of the players are on Sengoku, and it's fantastic to see them all here. But DFM, I have to agree with you. They are the undisputed favorites. They have never... This org has never not made a finals. They are just doing anything and everything, and as we come into this, we're just going to be doing cross-math pathing. It's going to be a rather standard show of a fair middle court. And, sir... what do you think the game time of this first game is going to be?
Oh, that is a bold question. That is a bold question. Because, I mean, Sengoku have shown tenacity, right? And they were able to come back from an 0-2 deficit in that matchup versus Rascal Jester in the previous round. And whilst that grit, whilst that tenacity is worth a lot, the power that DFM have shown in the early game is going to be very difficult to deal with. I think we're probably looking towards 32 minutes as a win for DFM, although they may just try and win the game in the first 2 minutes, as Honey is forced to flash away in the bot side, not what you want to happen.
Oh my god, so much just used. Choosing to go for that Zenith Blade first and just kind of baiting it out. Flash level 1, it's 2 minutes in. Sengoku, this is awful. This is terrible. And if you look at this, Once isn't actually coming down bot side. He's actually going top side. So you're not even going to get jungle support here. This could go bad to worse because remember, Steel is pathing down bot side. They could do a level 4 invade, I feel. Or even just dive.
Or just a level 2 engages.
Why not?
Taken low, and with these health bars getting pretty anemic, maybe DFM are setting up for a dive. And already, Lexi, I'm looking over at my prep doc and it says win conditions for Sengoku. Make sure that Honey is even or ahead. Those win conditions already not being met.
Yep. But as it currently stands, outside of the flash being blown, nothing else has gone particularly bad, and the farm is in a completely fine state at the moment. Yes, Honey's taking a lot of poke, but with this, they won't even see that ward, so Steel won't even know that he might actually waste some time, so everything's rather even still currently. Like, while the flash was blown, unless it's punished, it's kind of negligible at this moment in time. Top lane is just an absolute top lane, because I mean it's Ebby's Nar, so
it's very top lane right now.
It's very top lane, but that ward is coming back to haunt Steel.
Oh, and Steel might be coming to haunt Sengoku's bot laners. And he's going to be walking it out.
Just go for it.
Has the cleanse. Devastating charge onto the Nautilus, but Utapon and Harp aren't quite in range to follow up. Once is starting to roam over, as is Jet. This may have been a little bit of an overextension from the DFM side. Oh no! He misses the Sonic Wave, and that means that Harp can get the engage off. to peel for his jungler. Enti flashes over the wall, but doesn't connect on the hook. It's not going to matter as Jet picks up first blood in the LJL final, and he's going to get a second one as well. That's more like it, Sengoku.
They rotate first. Jet's even pings on the map. There were pings moments before that play. Jet came down and honestly saved that play because there was an opportunity there with that Sonic Wave missing from once that it wasn't going to be able to go through. As it stands though, Sengoku come out hugely on top in a scenario which actually DFM opted into. They decided they wanted this fight, but they didn't have the vision on where once was until it was actually too late. But it's Jet here already making this rotation, sacrificing the wave, and Yaharong not actually being able to follow up. He wants to stay farming. Because of that greed, you could argue, he wasn't going to be able to keep up with Jet, so probably just decided, hey, let's just not call it quits. Though sadly, 2 kills over to Sengoku, and that's momentum now on their side. Let's see what they decide to do with this tempo gain.
Lexi, in Game 5, the decisive game of their matchup versus Rascal Jester. The Jesters went for a little bit of a weird and wild composition, but one of the things they did do was get an invade off onto the bot side of Sengoku's jungle that was punished heavily. DFM just made a very, very similar play and also felt the pain. We talk about Sengoku as not necessarily being the most proactive early game team, but they've shown already that they are more than willing to fight with DFM in these early stages.
I actually really like this adaptation that we've seen from Sengoku, and specifically Jet in their build path going for the Dark Seal, but more so the Moby treads really early on to just prevent Yaharong Steel specifically from actually trying to CC chain. It also means when Harp does start roaming a bit more, it's going to be less consistent that they'll actually be able to get the full kill, which means they might be able to escape a little bit more, which means you get to keep your Dark Seal stacks going a bit longer, which it's just everything, but Harp still wants blood.
Cleanse burnt from Honey, Ignite burning on him. The feathers pull back, but will not result in a kill. Steel may run into Jet here, level 6 on the LeBlanc, and doesn't want to tussle with her just yet. And whilst things have been going well for Sengoku in the mid side, this bot lane, it's continuing to start to bleed out. First it was one wave down, now Honey is down a couple as well, picking up those fruit, but he's still being heavily pressured.
Absolutely, but something I'd like to just bring to your attention as we hit the 7-minute mark, Middlecott. Ebby has the most solo kills in the LJL. At 25, I believe. That's including 4 so far from playoffs. Remember, he's only played 3 games in playoffs, and he's already got 4. I believe, or maybe even 3 solo bolos, but that means that's consistently 1 per game in this series. Paz has so far kind of nullified. Yes, he should be farming better, don't get me wrong, the CS score should be higher on adjacent to a null. I'm not going to pretend it's going great, but I'm saying this is slightly nullifying Ebby. The important thing is, how is Sengoku going to play these side lanes as everybody starts scaling up, as item spikes coming in? Is Paz going to keep playing this split push, or is he going to try and actually join with the team and try and match Enti and just, match Ebby rather, and actually get the poke and have Enti work with him to try and find engage spots? The thing I'm worried about is Sengoku's team comp kind of wants to do 2 to 3 different things, and their identity of this composition is a little bit mixed, whereas at least saying DFM, they're kind of like, well, let's just all go in and let's just have Utapon at the back just doing an MF ult.
Yeah, let's just run at them, press all our buttons, and see what happens. It's a crude way to build a composition, but it definitely can be explosive when it pops off. Once is responding to this play in the top side by Steel, who actually hasn't revealed himself just yet. There is a bullet time down on the bot lane as Honey taken to 300 HP, and still the Hecarim is staying in this top side. Sengoku have no idea as once forced a safeguard towards his tower. Both mid laners thinking about roaming towards that top lane. We're going to call it off.
Oh, Jutapon and Harp are just so destructively strong. Even if the side of Sengoku Gaming really wanted to try and rotate around, they would sacrifice so much on this bot side, but
charge back, running forward to the skies onto the Herald, but is just going to get chased down. Flashes over the wall, but the onslaught of shadows will follow the Jace. And DFM grab their first kill of the series.
It's also going to convert into a Rift Herald. Harp, because of that push that they had in the bot lane, is going to be able to rotate around, and that's what I was trying to mention before I was rudely interrupted by DFM getting their first kill onto Paz, and that's the target probably on this team that I least wanted to die. Hilariously enough to say that, I really needed Paz to just be this rock in the top lane. The fact that they're not going to be this rock kind of starts raising the questions of, okay, if Ebby starts getting a bit out of control, how does the side of Sengoku actually prevent Ebby from just doing the 1v2 kind of carry performance and dueling potential that we've seen from him before? He's already doing pretty good, but this replay was just started from DFM just going, hey, we have our numbers advantage, and we know that Yaharong is going to be able to match Jet in this mid lane, so Jet couldn't come in and really try and help anything. That's where a lot of their gold, remember, on Sengoku's side is. Because of that, they're able to get their advantage, they're getting a kill, and they're going again!
Drake started up by once, but DFM are hustling and harrying the rest of his team. Jet is
charm.
NT is going to get thrown back as Yaharong is continuing forward with the spirit rushes. Utapon secures the first kill of the fight as Yaharong goes back over the wall and once is forced to flash away. Playmaking tools off the Lee Sin and priority in the river for DFM.
And I wouldn't be too surprised if we just go back to neutral laning states while everybody resets at this moment in time. Harp recalling. I wouldn't be too surprised if we just see Steel actually now clear the bot side of his jungle and then rotate around when they actually have all the members grouped up so they can actually come and get this dragon. The other reason they probably don't want to fight too much is because Yaharong's TP and he's used all his mana, man. So let's just reset, guys. Let's just take all the gold we just got. They're now in the lead, by the way, as well, because of the ceaseless aggression that they've had in this bot lane. Poor Honey is almost 30 CS down now.
Yeah, that is absolutely not the place that you want to be on this Xayah, who has tended a bit more towards these early game sort of builds, going for the Eclipse, getting the Airy, going for the Q-Max, lethality style.
Right?
All about applying that pressure in the early game. Still strong on 3 items, but definitely would have hoped it had been going better.
So, as we sit in this 14-minute mark, Sengoku had a few things really going there. Oh my god, Utapon getting all that turret gold, plating gold as well. Oh god, just talk about funneling gold effectively. But this is something DetonatioN FocusMe have been good at doing since really day one of the LJL. And that's just talking about this split alone. And that's something I would love to chat about for a brief moment in time because, oh, wait, no, Yaharong's just finding kills. Okay.
Not quite yet. Only
not yet.
The Lost Chapter and the Mercury Treads on the Ari. Not quite built the Everfrost just yet, and it will be the Everfrost.
It will be.
It will be. That's just how these things work.
He's a utility mid laner at this moment in time. Land the charm, get the Everfrost. Hopefully the team should get the kill. I mean, when you've got a misfortune, having a bullet time going over that's almost guaranteeing a kill in a sense.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty disgusting combo. We've already said that DFM are going to be playing for that wombo.
Yep.
And it's a style that only gets more disgusting as the game gets later. NT finding the hook hit onto Steel, who will be able to onslaught of shadows over the wall.
Wrong.
Still down, but DFM are going to respond in the jungle. They keep going forward.
Ebby's mega.
Beautiful two-man stun with the solar flare. And it's 2 more kills for DFM.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, Mega Ebby's coming. They don't even need him. Like, DetonatioN FocusMe are just this much in sync. They're going to throw this Rift Herald mid, and then I have to imagine they're going to just rotate around to this drop bot side and get Dragon as well.
Yeah, not too much focus been thrown towards the Drake. I'm sure that I'll be very happy with that one, but no winged beast is allowed to remain on Summoner's Rift for too long. 13 minutes on the clock. DFM, after a little bit of a slow start and Sengoku fighting back, have managed to generate for themselves a 2,500 gold lead. A lot of that is in the top lane, a lot of that is in the bot lane, a lot of that is in the jungle. And Sengoku, they thought they had the play here, but DFM responded so quickly.
That was the point, right? On the minimap, the moment once an NT gets seen on the map and they're going on to steal, Yaharong and Harp are rotating already that way.
No. Oh no! Paz is in the dirt for the second time this game. And Ebby claims his first kill.
Oh god, it's just gonna keep going and going and going. Oh, Marimo, the substitute AD carry, and I believe the Academy AD carry as well, showing their support for the team. Love to see it. Obviously, I believe all sides are going to be doing it. And now I'm trying to remember someone from the Sengoku Academy team, but I can't remember because there was a bit of a changeover in between when you and me covered Academy last season. But, honey, haven't you burn that out there?
Yeah, going to be a little bit more vulnerable for the next couple minutes. And do you know what? Shout out to Marimo. You know, came into the team late in the split, helped them get a win or two. So definitely a part of this DFM roster that has been doing so well, and maybe one of those future stars that we're going to be seeing in the LJL once Udapon retires in 2030.
If he retires.
That is a good point. That is a good point. I would not be surprised if Udapon just keeps playing League of Legends until the servers get shut off.
I mean, why would he stop? He's been consistently one of the best players on the server since the server started.
I think before the server started as well.
Probably as well. Yeah, he was. Well, I mean, he has made top 200 somewhat consistently over in Korea, casually. He's been challenger in Korea is what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. Like, and that's with like 30 ping because he's playing from Japan. And that's something we should actually bring up very momentarily for our viewers that aren't aware. Jet, Yaharong, and Harp are all playing from Korea at this moment in time, whereas everybody else is playing in Japan. This is because of the COVID restrictions, so it meant that certain players from Korea weren't able to actually come over, and that was just due to lockdown policies and everything else over in Japan at that moment in time.
Obviously, it's an unfortunate situation.
Really is.
As great as League of Legends is, I think keeping people safe is a little bit more important. Wants to cause some harm to Yaharong, maybe cause him to become unsafe, but Sonic Wave just clipping wide, and still will use that time to secure this top scuttle crab. Both these junglers even on CS, but if we're looking at the one that's made more plays in the early game, definitely that Hecarim.
Oh, I mean, look at the build he's going as well. He's going for the tank Hecarim build because he understands he needs to be the front line, whereas Ebby's actually going for the Divine Sunderer, so it's like, hey, I'm going to just go for the damagey item first. It's really a flip between the two, which one you want to go, and what your composition really needs. I love the idea that Steel's going to be more of the frontliner to begin the engage along with Harp, and then Ebby will try and come in and find an angle. Sengoku, I would really worry about grouping up, though, in choke points, because that's exactly what DFM want.
Herald being started up would be the second of the game, but I think that Sengoku have thrown enough pressure towards the mid side to, not towards that top side, to dissuade the aggression. And second Herald, not always the best objective to pick up, doesn't have the highest of value, especially now that the plates have fallen off.
Don't do a Fnatic versus G2, is what we're saying here. Don't... No, it wasn't Fnatic versus G2. It was Cloud9 versus Golden Guardians, where they just punted randomly second Herald, for 4 kills, and the game was over there. That's the match I'm talking about, not Fnatic G2. We don't talk about Fnatic G2, especially as a Brit. That just hurts a little bit.
That was a series of League... It feels like we've had a couple series of League of Legends in the past 24 hours or so that maybe didn't deliver quite as much as we would have liked. But hey, in LGL, we have been chilling, still in awe of that semi-final win that Sengoku were able to pull out, and they're going to need some more of that tenacity. They're going to need some more of that grit and determination if they're going to pick up this Game 1 win, because one of the things about DFM is they rarely give up advantages once they get them.
Yeah, and that is a fantastic point, because that is just how consistent the team has been once they get there, right? Like, a lot of teams kind of, especially in the LJL, they kind of struggle to cleanly close out a lot of their games, and that's where it partly comes down to that average game time, right? Like, Detonation FocusMe, on average in playoffs, have a 30-minute game time. They've only played games versus Sengoku, so we should expect probably a 30-minute match here. In the regular season, where they played more games, so we have a larger sample size to pull from, 28 minutes. Yeah, that's how good they were. And they had the shortest average game time, except for, I think, V3 who lost faster consistently. But that hurts to say, so we're not going to talk about that.
Well, I think you've already just talked about that, Lexi. So the train has left the station, okay? And it's got V3 Flame on board.
Well... They did that to themselves, is what I'm going to say.
To a certain extent. But let's not talk about 8th place. Let's talk about these guys. The pinnacle of the LGL. Well, yeah, first and second, both in the regular split. And and coming through playoffs. A lot of people were saying that Rascal Jester may be the team that would have had the better matchup versus DFM, but they didn't have the better matchup versus Sengoku, so they are here in the final. Drake is going to be spawning in 30 seconds time. Very, very late actually for second Drake to come onto the Rift, so we'll have to see if these teams think that's worth playing towards, or whether that rotating around the map, getting some vision somewhere else, or maybe securing a tower is the optimal play.
Well, Detonation FocusMe aren't typically a dragon stacking team. We've just seen that in general. They prefer to just prioritize getting heralds, opening up the map, and then kind of playing the map once they've got a tower or two down. Ebi, though, is going to definitely be collapsed upon here. They don't know it's happening, but at this same time, what does that mean? Well, Ebi cleared the wave out, so they haven't got anything to do here. Ebi!
Mini-Na is not particularly tanky, and he'll go Mega just in time to crunch himself away. Burning down, the Sonic Wave goes wide and he flashes away! No way are you away, Ebi!
This is why we have been saying Ebi can't get better than what his World's performance was, and then he found another level to just go up and improve. This tank build for Ebi going in huge. You can't dissuade that. The fact is, that was just fancy footsteps, getting the Mega just in time, ulting, immediately jumping. The flash Sonic Wave was so clean. But what that meant was DFM were able to push in mid. They got mid turret, they got bot turret. They're just applying pressure around the map, and it was Sengoku's loss, and they objectively went for the play.
Yeah, DFM got that Drake as well. So,
oh my god, yeah, they did.
If we're talking about a team maybe prioritizing the Drake to get other stuff on the map, it didn't really work out. DFM kind of got their cake and ate it as well. Ebi, beautiful escape.
Yeah, as I've already said, they did that. But I'm going to highlight the mini-map here throughout all of this, because this is where the actual action happens. And that's because they get that mid tower, they get that bot tower, and then, as you said, they get the dragon and they rotate around. Detonation FocusMe didn't miss a beat this whole time. I have to imagine Ebi was going, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Like, I don't, like, just keep doing what you're doing. I've got 3 of them here. They're wasting time.
Oh, no, do you know what? As an Udyr player, I've been in a lot of those situations where you're kind of just spamming bear turtle, going, nah, you don't get me. Nah, you don't get me here. Nah, you don't get me here. And Ebi has been able to sort of be flexible in that playstyle. Heart potentially caught out here. That's a kill for Jet. That's another one for the LeBlanc. That's good. But you're still in a pretty significant deficit. Still taking a load of damage from Honey, actually. 2 items complete on the Xayah. Muramana completed as well. So Sengoku actually in a fairly significant point of power. And they're going to use that to focus onto Ebi. You got out the last time, but can you do it this time around? That's Everfrost not really connecting onto anyone as Jet taking more damage than he trades. This Gnar is just way too good, man.
Yeah, absolutely, and because of this, Yaharong actually held the wave for a bit longer. He wanted to make sure he could crash this wave, get the next one to crash, and actually take this turret in this whole exchange. Look at this! Sengoku are full backing now because they didn't make anything for that play. Ebi has been an absolute terror for them.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about, the flexibility of DFM as a team. They can weak side Ebi if they need to, get him on the Gnar, know that he's just going to be absolutely fine in that top side. With the amount of resources that Sengoku have thrown there, there's no way that this Gnar should be up 20 CS, but that's the game state that we're in. And DFM have been punishing beautifully all around the other parts of the map.
And yes, that did come from Harp overextending a little bit. Let's not lie about that. Like, Harp overextended. He went really deep to try and get some vision down. They didn't find it. But ultimately, they get a turret almost.
It's happening again. It's happening again. Hook onto Ebi, trying to get out. Not going to be lucky. Third time is the charm for Jet. And the Gnar finally goes down.
I mean, this is just Sengoku placing as much vision around as possible. Detonation FocusMe having a lot of their vision nullified or just taken out one way or another. I'm liking this angle, but finding random picks like this, especially at 23 minutes, isn't gonna just win you the game. Now, if you find a bunch of these picks around like a 10-15 second interval, that's when you can start making something. But if there's no big neutral objectives, you're just kind of getting a kill and that's kind of it. Whereas when we saw this from Detonation FocusMe, they always converted it into something else.
Yeah, we're talking about big neutral objectives. Well, maybe not big, maybe not even medium, but definitely a neutral objective is this Cloud Drake spawning in 90 seconds time. Sengoku, it really feels like to me they are starting to hit their power spikes. You've got 2 items on the LeBlanc. We've already mentioned 2 items on Honey, and that Muramana almost completed for Paz. It's going to be tough for Sengoku, but I think they might be able to win out if they opt into a fight around this next Drake.
I do agree with you. I think item spikes have come in. The thing that I want to just watch, though, is kind of see how the positioning and flank angles come out for DFM. Because obviously, Ebby on this Gnar could just completely paradigm flip the whole team fight in just one Mega Gnar ult. And we've seen him do this countless times before, so I want to watch that. The other thing I want to watch for is where does Utapon position around these dragon fights? Because in all fairness, I actually think Cloud Soul is slightly better for the side of DFM, and that's only because of 3 champions they have. I actually don't care about Ebby or Utapon in this conversation here.
Whoa.
I don't have to, because think about it. How good is Cloud Soul on Steel and Yaharong? Like, that is disgusting. And also giving Harp an accelerated speed boost after just doing your ult, that's kind of mentally strong. They've got literally 2 out of the 3 best champions, I would say, for Cloud Soul.
Are you serious? Are you seriously telling me that when Miss Fortune stands still and channels her ult, she doesn't benefit from movement speed increases?
I am.
Crazy.
I am controversial, man. I am a terror.
Oh, well.
I'm a maniac on the mic, man. That's what I do.
Maniac on the mic. Well, maniacs on the Rift have been DFM so far, but Sengoku willing to tussle with them.
Jet has missed a lot of these Everfrost so far. I'm hopeful he's going to land it, because if he lands one, that's all that matters, really, sometimes.
Yeah, pulling the setup for your team. Ebby just leashing. Drake on the bot side wants to keep that Gnar rage bar in the yellow so that he is ready to go Mega at a moment's notice. Jet just dancing forward, poking with these sigils of malice, not doing too much damage onto the likes of Harp, but if he's able to land a couple of those onto Yaharong, onto Utapon, it looks a lot better. Ebby just popped the Mega. Sengoku, they need to wait this out. If he's able to land a massive ultimate, could be disastrous for them.
As it stands, Sengoku just kind of playing around their jungle. They're going back in the moment they've done this. Okay, so DetonatioN FocusMe have decided to opt into this. They're just going to push for this turret. They're going to leave once, though, for Sengoku actually on this dragon. Let's see, though, how much are they going to lose for this play? Dragon for a turret is almost always worth for the side of DetonatioN FocusMe. It's also a cloud dragon, so it's not a huge deal. What can DetonatioN FocusMe do now? I don't think anything, and you kind of wish they prepped their top wave a little bit better. They couldn't do that, though, because Jet actually went top at 1 minute and actually went to clear that, so they actually had a push going their favor. So I actually like how Sengoku had prepped this. They just didn't have the mid prep.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll give DFM a B for that. Because, like, taking the tower, clearing all the camps out of Once's jungle is going to feel nice, but yeah, you really would have liked to take that top lane tower. You're not going to be
missing... those expectations of them.
Yeah, no. I think, yeah, and that's fair to say, because whenever we talk about DFM, in the context of the LJL, it is this top team. But what we really want to start to see in these finals is what's going to push DFM further internationally, or what could potentially push Sengoku further internationally if they are able to get this win, because MSI is around the corner. And the winner of this best of 5 is going to be the LJL's representative to that event. And we've had some pretty good showings in recent years.
I mean, DetonatioN focusing making history at Worlds. They also played with Kazu and actually looked not half bad when they had their coach in. Thank you, Kazu. By the way, is still their coach for DetonatioN FocusMe, so he's still involved with
Raise
the
those
Emperor.
Kazus. Raise those Kazus.
Raise those Kazus. Obviously, thank you to the Emperor, that is Seros. He's still with DFM. He's actually one of their coaches now. I believe he does a lot of scrimming and 1v1ing with a lot of these players. So potentially that's why Yaharong has improved so much since he's joined in, because he's got the Emperor literally watching and helping him. Like, hey, you can't get better than Japanese fakers sometimes.
Oh, absolutely not. Love Seros, man. What a player. What a player. What
I mean, if we see a Heimerdinger out of Yaharong, we know he's been
Do you know what?
Blessed or tainted.
Even if it's not locked in, I would absolutely love to see that just hover. But one of these key picks for Jet has been this LeBlanc.
Yeah,
He's
talk
only
about
played
mid
it a
laners.
couple times, but he's looked pretty damn good in those wins.
Well, he's just dinged over to level 16, so I think this is the perfect moment from our producer and graphic extraordinaire, Mr. Chris Edgeworth. Go see him on Twitter, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. But look at this, DFM wants something!
Steel finding the engage, but not quite onto Honey as he pops into the ultimate and Jet dashes away.
Yaharong just Zonya'd randomly, right?
Yeah, maybe that'll come back to bite him. There's actually a lot of damage onto the solo lanes of DFM. Ari and the Gnar both pretty low on HP relatively. Ebby about to go Mega and forced away. And I think this is what I really wanted to see from Sengoku. It's some more of that grit, it's some more of that determination, willing to go toe-to-toe with DFM and not back down despite the fact they're in a deficit.
I mean, the deficit is there. It's only 4k, but it's not negligible. Oh, this is a deep TP from Ebby.
Flank TP, no ultimate for Honey. Solar Flare onto one as there goes the bullet time onto no one. Throwing back the carries into the waiting arms of DFM does Ebby as Honey is not quite going to go down as the boulder goes wide. NT goes golden and will go down. Only a single kill for DFN. Maybe not enough to translate into a Baron.
Well, everybody did use their ultimate, so while it kind of goes, oh, okay, only one person died, everyone burnt something. No one got out of this exchange for free. Obviously, Paz and Honey both had to use their flash there. Only real summoner used for the side of DetonatioN FocusMe were those TPs. Yes, Ghost is gone for steal, but it's not really a big deal. He used that before the first fight even came in. So it's really just those TPs, and I don't feel like that was enough out of using those neutral objectives. Those are pretty huge. Jet has used his as well, but Paz has got his open, so there's opportunities there for them, and it's 1 minute till this Cloud Soul. Well, Cloud Dragon, rather.
Cloud Dragon, and we're going to get a replay of this fight, and it was a nice idea from DFM. I really like this as a concept. I think it was well disengaged by Sengoku to really shut it down.
I personally, I would have loved it if DFM could have actually had Ebby come even further back on that vision ward that's all the way in that north side brush where it wouldn't have been on vision for the side of Sengoku. Part of the reason that they were able to do that is because they had vision of Ebby coming in, and Ebby wasn't Mega coming in right away. I think if he was...
Goes into the ultimate, but Ebby gets kicked away. It's not going to matter for the Xayah, though. 3 items, but none of them make them tanky, and Udapon will secure that kill. 4 items on the Misfortune as well. AD carry off the table, maybe a little bit more preferable for DFM, as Steel is thinking about an engage, not just thinking about it, actually going for it, is once will be able to safeguard himself out. And DFM are investing a lot of resources to gain precious little against Sengoku.
Yeah, they are going to definitely get this dragon, and they're going to prevent it as much as they can from the side of DetonatioN FocusMe. I'm just a little bit surprised that they are choosing to engage, and it's a bit sloppy. It's a little uncoordinated, whereas you can kind of see the idea of what they're going for, but it's a much bigger plan is being attempted to be executed upon, and they're just fumbling it a little bit. Though, if a team's going to fumble it a little bit in the mid game and then pull it out in the late game, DFM's kind of that team for me, a slight bit where, oh, it's not perfectly executed, but hey, they're not playing Irelia who has that ability, thankfully.
You say about mid-game fumbles, but late game in this matchup for DFM and Sengoku has been the 30-minute mark. That was their average game time in that first series, and Sengoku already showing, I think, a fair bit more in this one. Definitely standing up, and DFM, it doesn't really feel like they've got any objectives, anything that they can take in the next few minutes that will end this game particularly quickly. Maybe Sengoku have got a better chance in this final than we were giving them.
Well, if you just look at one of these players, Jet has been playing out of its absolute mind this game. 4-0-0 at the moment on this LeBlanc, and you can't say that huge damage that was coming out onto Yaharong, onto Steel, onto Udapon. A lot of that's been Jet just finding the right angles, getting the chains, getting the sigils down and attempting to try and find some poke. Has been doing a lot of those chains where you do it as you go back to your clone. I need to see a bit more out of Once, though. That's the player I'd like to highlight at this moment in time, because while we've seen a few decent defensive kicks, we've not actually seen any of those huge insects, because, well, really, DFM aren't giving them because they're not playing around Utapon a huge amount at this moment in time to really do those huge MF ultimates.
Yeah, the wombo combo hasn't really been the way that this game has played out. You see DFM aim for it, think about it, tease it. it's not quite come to fruition. Baron has been on the table for the last 13 minutes and really hasn't got a decent look in by either of these teams. DFM definitely the ones with the pressure around this top side, though. If some of those fights turn into more than 2 picks, Baron definitely on the cards. But as it stands, Goldly not particularly significant this stage into the game, and the poke start to come out from this LeBlanc, from this Jace, can be very, very detrimental to DFM.
Well, DFM do now know that the side of Sengoku have no vision. Harp actually did sweep her around, so they know that Sengoku are gonna have to at some point run into the darkness and try and do something. Jet doing it face first, but doesn't find any members of DFM as they had just reset. And now look at this, Ebby's on the bot side. Looks like Sengoku are gonna trade probably for nothing, can get this mid turret. I'd be surprised if DetonatioN FocusMe can really fight them.
Yeah, it's sort of
reset.
at that point where you can't really fall V5, and I like that we did highlight Jet there going forward, trying to find that vision, has gone for the Banshee's Veil and the Zhonya's, so not only does this LeBlanc pump out a fair bit of damage, but also got a little bit more survivability than your old man's LeBlanc, and last a little bit longer in these fights, which may be exactly what Sengoku need to pick up the win. Ebby taking down that bot lane outer tower for a little bit more solo gold. That top lane tier 2, the final one remaining for Sengoku outside of their base, whereas DFM's tier 2 line is all intact. Harp just not CC'd up by the Everfrost, but does still get the chains. Ebby is on the backline, and Honey is already on half HP. The kick away onto Steel. Once again, DFM can't quite find the engage.
No, they just struggle to find it. Sengoku just trying to peel themselves as best as possible. And when you've got a tricksy LeBlanc, it's not too surprising. Oh, 2 ults now from Ebby haven't hit anybody.
Yeah, and DFM possibly struggling so far. Sengoku are continuing to stand up. Well, it is only game 1, and this team has played a lot of League of Legends in the past 72 hours. So we'll have to see if they're able to keep up this defense, keep up this stamina for the rest of the series, because being in a deficit and holding off on your opponent making plays is such a mentally exhausting thing to do.
A thing that Sengoku do have in the back of their heads, though, is that if a team fight remotely starts going in DFM's favor, it will snowball horrendously from that state for the side of Sengoku Gaming, because they have a wombo combo with some peel, kind of team setup and team fighting. If they win, they probably win by an absolute landslide. Yeah. It's all going to be on once. It's all going to be on Jet for Sengoku to really try and prevent that. But look at this DTP and it's off vision.
It's happening again. The engage is attempted onto Honey, but once again flies into the feathers. The ultimate from Gnar doesn't hit the AD carry, only onto the Nautilus as Jet is in the backline. Gets the shutdown onto Utapod, and now Sengoku will look for the fight. But their mid laner is isolated. He's left alone. He's taken out. It's a 4v3, and DFM will feel favored in this one. Health bars still pretty healthy for Sengoku as Yarog looking for the flash jump, but he can't quite get the kill before a member of his team is taken out once, finding the engage, finding the kill, and Sengoku, they're doing it! Ebby, the last one left alive, the Sonic Wave connects, he flashes away!
Dragon is still up though, so Sengoku are going to take their prize as fast as possible. I really hope so. Mega Gnar just comes up, but Sengoku knife edge that team fight, and while it looks so good at the start for DetonatioN FocusMe, channeling your ult as a misfortune can leave you a little exposed, and Jet did find them. Though this all started because a fantastic flank though from Ebby, but it's Jet I want to pay attention to, as look at this, fantastically done by the side of DetonatioN FocusMe for setup for this, but when you lose Utapon immediately, what can you do afterwards? And the issue is, Jet doesn't die immediately. Look at this, so much time is wasted, and this whole time, Honey is getting to do damage. Once is getting to do damage. Paz did a bit of damage, that's something. And when you look at these health bars, as you mentioned in the call, yeah, they kill Honey, but at what cost? Well, it actually cost them the whole team fight once, and Paz outputting huge sums of damage. They get that dragon, and DetonatioN FocusMe is now playing a little bit from the back foot.
And I didn't think that Sengoku would be able to hands check DFM. No one did. Ebby, Yaharong, Utapon, Steel, Harp, all of these guys, top 1, top 2 in their roles, not only understand the game very highly at a fundamental level, but have the mechanics to back it up. And it was that man in the top lane. It was Paz, not Jet, not Honey, not these two carries that we highlighted. It was that man in the top lane, the man that was almost forgotten about, the man that was put behind in the early game, pumping out the DPS when his team needed it most. Sengoku, that gold lead that DFM had, basically negligible at this point. Sole point for the red side team, and we could be looking at a massive upset in game 1 of this series if Sengoku are able to find a couple more fights like that.
I mean, I don't even think you'll need to have a couple more fights. I think, Middlecop, at this moment in time, if DetonatioN FocusMe win a team fight, I think the game's over, especially if it's around a Baron fight. Vice versa for Sengoku, I think they could legitimately deathmatch push. You just need to have some ways prepped for this. That's what DFM are so good at doing. That's why when they close a game, it's like a dime flip. Everything's done and dusted. The game is already over. Your inhibitors are done, and you're already 4 or 5 steps behind. DFM didn't get that in this game so far, so now they're struggling to find the closeout. And Sengoku Gaming, as you mentioned, they hand-checked them. They found the angles, and everyone's now level 17, level 18. Levels are really starting to come in. Everyone's hitting item parity, and this is something that favors Sengoku.
Chains on to steal. They will pot through. Dodges from the Charm Jet. You are playing at a knife's edge, but that is exactly where he wants to be. Rabadon's death cap completed, so this LeBlanc is absolutely terrifying. Yaharong and Utapon need to be so careful with their positioning, and you can see that with the itemization that's come through. Edge of Night for Utapon, trying to block one of those spells, and Azonya's also in the process for Yaharong to soak up some cooldowns. But against a player of the caliber of Jet, I don't know if these defensive tools are actually going to be enough.
I agree with you, and while there is currently an item disparity between our 2 AD carries, oh my god, Jet, that is dirty. Yeah, I don't blame Sengoku for now feeling pretty good. If they're gonna, DetonatioN FocusMe now want to contest, they're gonna lose their support. And we saw, funnily enough, a lot of Barons being taken. It was Rascal Jester.
It's gone. DFM aren't here in time. Maybe they can look for the fight afterwards, but Sengoku definitely in a strong point. Steal already taken down the clone, the only one to die from Sengoku before Jet falls, and now Enti fails to flash over the wall. DFM, if you can find the chase, if you can keep going, you can rescue this fight. You lose the Baron, but you have not lost the game. Honey, Paz once need to pull out some heroics, need to pull out something from the very top drawer. Ebby throws one into the wall, but he's low HP himself. Honey forced to cleanse as he is also low, but gets the first kill of the fight. The second kill is for once. Ebby taken out, taken low, trying to kite back as much as he can. Sengoku are doing it. How is this happening? Once, yes, please pick up the kill. It's getting turned around. He goes golden. Ebby throws out the boomerang, gets the kill and the shock blast. Not quite there.
He's so good, but Honey is pushing the top side at this moment in time. Talk about a knife's edge. Only 2 members from the side of Sengoku will have this Baron buff. It's gonna be Paz, it's gonna be Honey. But what a team fight. The fact is, and a point I was trying to make, versus Rascal Jester, they were, Sengoku lost a lot of Barons in the exact same way. The fact that DFM were able to come back in a 4v5, may I just add, because they lost Steel very early on, well actually, very early on, they had to find something. Knife's edge play, Sengoku and DFM basically trade evenly at the end, but Honey and DFM, well, Honey just plays fantastically. I'm amazed, though, that Ebby is able to win this. Like, just the output damage. Divine Sunder is a broken item.
Steel's going in, not finding the engage.
Doesn't pop.
Shadows traded for the feathers of Yaharong down to half HP. And Jet is absolutely chilling. Cloud Soul on the Rift. We said that DFM would have absolutely loved to pick this one up, but I don't think that's going to be the case. It's another neutral objective. It's another advantage in this one. Pretty decently sizable for Sengoku. Definitely not a game ender. DFM definitely still with a shot of winning this game. But Sengoku have made this game one closer than anyone could have anticipated. And Lexi, I think we are going to be in for one hell of a series.
I was worried, but I was the only one that predicted a random loss, though. This is how it could happen, Ebby!
Throwing Jet into the wall, Harp not quite connecting with the solar flare. This is a little bit of an impetuous fight from DFM. Nothing really to fight over, but yet they still go for the engage, and it doesn't quite work out.
I mean, with Mega Gnar, you should always ulti because of the cooldown so low. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, he's going to have it up for this next Mega, but it's not going to be enough. Sengoku were relentless.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a wave in top lane. Nice. Observers. No one's really doing too much with that at the moment. Paz is going to walk that way and pick it up. Lexi, I don't understand how my voice has already been run ragged in this game. It has just been constant back and forth. 43 minutes on the clock. This is where gold is completely irrelevant. It's all about that next fight. It's all about that execution. How are your hands feeling? Are you ready? Did you use that hand warmer before you got into game? Because it's going to be very, very important in the next few minutes.
Few cooldowns of note to try and just think about and see if they come up in time for that next team fight. Honey's cleanse has just pinged up, so that's going to be a big cooldown. Yutapon's heal is currently down. Yaharong's TP down. Steel, Ghost, TP, Ghost down at the moment. DFM, less summoners. Sengoku fully ready for a team fight. They've got their TPs, they've got all their flashes. I mean, NT's the only one that hasn't got it, but he's still going to have his Hexa Flash ready if that fight does happen. I'm actually going to say I'm favoring Sengoku at this moment in time now. Think about it. Honey has scaled. Xayah has got the items now. This is a point where Honey could one-shot, and we've started to see that now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those feathers do a hell of a lot of damage, and I love this itemization from NT. Just very quickly going for the Zhonya's, understands that he's not going to be too tanky in these team fights. He can't just build all of these big tank items, so the active from the Zhonya's is going to buy a little bit of time, and it's heavy. Overstepping potentially, still dives into the backline, but doesn't find the fear once again. The Gnar is taken out before he can ult. And Unipon is going to be pressured now. Jet going onto the backline, goes into the Zhonya's to buy more time for himself as Paz fights the AD carry. DFM, 3 members on the run. Sengoku with the chase. Jet with the chains. Harp trying to turn it around. Yaharong wants to make a hero play, but it's not going to happen. TP into the top lane from Paz. He wants to end it, but can Sengoku get more kills in the mid lane? Yaharong being forced away. The wave not quite going to come through as once. Fishing for an engage, fishing for a second wave, and Honey oversteps, burns his Guardian Angel. That could be massive if Sengoku aren't able to end it here, but they may do just that.
I love what they did in that team fight, by the way. That Paz immediately TP'd when they felt like they were winning it, but Steel's going to come.
They're looking for it. They need to find the play, but it's not going to happen. Yaharong's taken out. And the predictions of almost everybody in tatters. This will not be a 3-0 DFM as Sengoku claim first blood in the series.
And moving on their hot streak, 4-0 now for Sengoku. Remember, they did that clean sweep back versus Rascal Jester, and they get a win here, not missing a beat.